Welcome to Masters of None. Coming up on tonight's show, preparing to shoot your first video. We'll be discussing getting ready for your first shoot, things to include in your kit bag that you may not have thought of, and what not to do on a shoot. Like what? Pull a Mooney? I don't know. And also, we'll have our picks of the week. So welcome to episode 4, preparing to shoot your first video.
Ta-da! Boom! That intro is growing on me.
What, a Saturday night takeaway?
Yeah, well, I feel like you've dialed it back a little bit.
Ever so little. I think it was because you were on the call and Emma was working next to me at the time, so I couldn't let my inner coming up on tonight's show. I couldn't let it go.
I thought it was really good. How are you, mate?
Harassed, or harassed, as we say in Britain. How are you?
I'm all right. You look like you've been working hard. Tell us about your day.
It's been a busy day, actually. Brand new client and a lot of eyebrows. We one of our main clients is a beauty brand, a big beauty brand, and as a result, that's what we kind of get known for, and that's the kind of client that approaches us. So we end up doing a lot of it, which is absolutely brilliant. I love it, but just, you know what? I'd love to shoot some car parts every now and again. But do you know what? You go with your niche, don't you? And yeah, we spent a long day filming eyebrows. He said he'd do that. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've had a really nice day, actually. I went to the post office this morning. Then I went and had my hair cut.
By the way, yeah, happy haircut.
Thank you. And then what else have I done? I went and had my vaccination.
Oh, well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, all vacced up. And then went and sat in the park, had a sandwich which had coleslaw in it, which wasn't great.
Coleslaw?
Don't like coleslaw. Coleslaw's not for me.
Oh, sorry. We cannot be friends. See you later.
Bye. Right, now that idiot is gone, let's get on with the proper stream. So tonight we're going to be talking. Oh, he's back. There we go. That's better. So tonight we're going to be talking about like going for your first job. Like you've got all the kit, you've done all your practice, you've shot a few jobs for free, and now it's getting serious because now you're going to get some money.
Get those Benjamin.
But so Adam and I have both done this for quite a while, and I think we've kind of built up some good working practices. And you only get those good working practices through making mistakes. So we're going to tell you what we think should go into your kit bag. We're going to tell you what you should do even before you leave the house. And we're also going to tell you some of the things that we've done in the past, which might make you giggle. So
I know you've got a couple. I'm looking for.
I've got a couple in my head, and I'm sure when I talk about those ones, more are going to come out.
Okay, so
and we've also got our picks of the week, and I've got the best pick of the week ever.
Yeah.
If you're a new videographer or a new photographer, this pick of the week is the best thing, and it'll only cost you about 10 to 15p.
Give that man my money. Just with that promise, I'm happy for it.
Cool. Right, should we get into it?
Yeah. So get
you look
ready.
hot.
Thanks, man.
Not in that way.
I got it. I can hear me back on you, by the way. Sorry.
I'll turn you down a bit. It's probably for the best anyway.
It's just because you're like the ASMR of me. So get ready for your first shoot. I'm imagining you are also
I'm going to have to turn you back up. I can't hear you.
I'm imagining that you're very much a prepping the gear the night before kind of guy, getting all the batteries stuff, all that kind of thing. Is that you, or do you just literally just grab and go?
Right. So yes, I used to be a very much grab and go kind of person, and it caused me some real nightmare shoots along the way. And now I'm very much.
That's me forgetting things when I'm on a shoot.
Right. Okay. so now I'm very much, I like to charge every single battery. I charge every power bank I own. I clean the lenses. I put it all in its separate little hole in the flight case, so I know I've got everything. I format all the memory cards and I put them into the camera, formatted, ready to go with a fresh battery. And I set the camera, like, depending on what the shoot is, I set the camera on the right settings, whether that be 4K or 120 frames a second in HD. I do all of that the night before. And I even go as far as putting the right tripod plate on the bottom of the camera, so I can rock up, put it on the tripod that I've thought about in my head, and just start shooting. So yes, I am that person now, but I didn't used to be. How about you?
You're literally, you've already decided what you put on. So you know if you're going with Arca Swiss or you're going with a Manfrotto plate, you know what that camera is going to at least start the shoot on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm very much the same. I prep everything with a lot of our we're a little bit different, Chris and I, whereas Chris will do a lot Chris predominantly does weddings with his main company. I do a lot of corporate, and in that we have a number of monthly clients on retainer, so we pretty much know exactly what we're going to be shooting, so I know which gear to pack. But that doesn't stop me so many times just literally packing everything I own. And the problem is, over the years, everything I own becomes so much more. I have an S Max. You have an S Max as well, don't you?
We've both got S Maxes because we both are videographers.
Yeah. I've lent my S Max to my parents this week and next week to go and camp in Scotland with something that they put on the back of the car. Don't know why. But we're left with rocking up everywhere in a Mark 7 Fiesta, which is what we did today to a brand new client. It's dinged up, everything. It's like, I had the back seats down so that C stand could fit in it. Hilarious. But yeah, I'm one of those guys that if I can fit all the gear I own without duplicating, I put in everything. But I'm the same as you. Charge every single battery I may need, including the MPFs, not just for the camera, but also for the lighting, just in case there's no mains when you get there and you need to get lighting into there. And yeah, formatting SDs. I always format the SD in the camera. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, but not for any reason, really.
Oh, well, actually, there is a reason. Because apparently, if you format on a computer or you delete individually as you go from an SD card, it can easily go corrupt. It can easily corrupt SD cards because they're really quite simple little flash drives, effectively. So you should always format in the camera because that is going to minimize. It's never going to eliminate SDs going corrupt, but it minimizes it. What do you shoot with? Do you shoot with 64 or 128 gig?
A bit of both. We've got, I don't know, 628 gigs and then loads of 64s and then even more 32s.
Yeah.
Just from where we've upgraded over the years and we've kept them. They're all due. We tend to replace them all every year. So after it's had a 12-month bash at the gong, I don't know. We either upgrade them and we keep the old ones as backups, or we just upgrade them. But because we haven't really been shooting this year very much, we've kept them. But they are due to be replaced because they're still going from 2019 at the minute. So they do need to be replaced.
I can't stress that enough, though. High quality, good quality SD cards. You buy cheap and you buy twice. And the problem is with that false economy whole thing with SD cards, you buy cheap, you may not only lose footage, but you may actually, if you're on a corporate side, you may all of a sudden start getting sued because unless you've got, not public liability, what's the other one? Professional indemnity.
One of them.
Yeah, because a company has invested, at least in the time, they may not have parted with any money, but they've invested in the time to actually have you in there. And all of a sudden, if you've got nothing to show for it, they could come after you. So do not scrimp on your SD cards. What else have you got in your bag? While Chris is looking, what Chris doesn't often...
Ow! Just hit my head on my chair.
You're all right, love. You're okay. It doesn't actually go straight for a Yes, a tripod. He just doesn't. Yes, Dio is an absolute must like that. What's in my? Oh my God, this is like an episode with Peter McKinnon. What's that? In case of
that's better, isn't it? I'll hold it there.
Is that
That is a penknife. It's got a bottle opener on it. That's mainly for the night before when we have a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I have a little GoPro.
Yeah.
Which very rarely gets used, but it's nice for it to be in there. This GoPro has been through the dishwasher. It's still going strong.
So that's good for BTS as well. We have the Osmo Action with us all the time, and sometimes it's just nice to just chuck it up on the side, just get a behind the scenes footage of what you're doing as well. It's nice to have.
Yeah. We've got 10 of these, which are 10,000 milliamp hour battery banks, possibly 5,000. Oh, let's say on the bottom, 5,000. So these will pretty much run one of our cameras for about 6 hours. So instead of changing batteries, we use these.
That's the thing. Sometimes I've noticed on the A7 III, I don't know if it's the same with the crop bodies, but sometimes if you're hot swapping a battery, sometimes it actually resets your white balance, if not other settings, and that can be really quite frustrating. So yeah, if you're going to be shooting for a decent amount of time, yeah, get that power bank. You've got one like you cable tie it to the top as well, don't you? Something like that.
Yeah, we cable tie these.
Yeah.
So that sits literally
on the cage,
on top of the camera, with those cable ties. Oh God, the lighting is really tricky. Hold on, I got an idea.
Oh,
there we go. So brilliant. That is what it looks like. So the camera with the cable ties, and then the battery bank just slots in.
Hold on, just hold it up again. I just need to get a little bit closer to see. Okay, great.
Very good. I enjoyed that. So yeah, that works really well. I wish I saw more people doing it, because I've been to weddings with photographers and other videographers as well, and they are just if they're shooting Sony, they are constantly changing batteries. And me and Anya only change a battery if one of the cameras is going to overheat, because the battery is where all of the heat is stored. So if you change the battery, then you eliminate that issue. Found out that at our detriment, because we were shooting a wedding. We were shooting the ceremony, not the ceremony, the speeches of a wedding. And me and Anya always have a hand signal. We're always like that if the camera's overheating. And I did it to her, and then about 30 seconds later, she did it to me. And then I went to our third camera, and that had already shut off. So we missed about 30 seconds of the speeches. This is quite a long time ago now. This is probably 4 years ago now. But it cost us 500 quid because we had to refund that bride because we missed that tiny little bit. So now we are really hot on changing the batteries to prevent overheating. And we shot a wedding in Malta, and it was really, really, really hot, like unbelievably hot. And we didn't have the camera overheat once because we were so hot on swapping those batteries.
Oh, excuse the pun. So is that something that you would, if you know that you're about to go to something that's really, really important, you're not going to get a second crack at this, would you just literally switch out a battery, even if you've only been on it for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and it's still got, what, 60, 70%? Just switch out that battery and start with a fresh, so at least you're zeroing that temperature. Yeah.
When you go anything above the A6300, it's not an issue anymore because it'll just keep running. But we've got 2 A6300s, and it has caused us issues in the past. Like, if you were going to be starting out videography now and you had the budget, I'd go for something like a 6500 instead, because they don't overheat. They'll just keep running.
I had the overheat warning on one of the first ever shoots I did with the A7 III, and I literally took a picture of the signal because I thought I recognized it and put it straight into one of the camera Facebook groups, camera owner Facebook groups, pros, and I was like, guys, what's this? And someone just said, yeah, it's overheating. You haven't set it, because you've got to set it to, you almost like
not
void warranty. Yeah, you void your warranty kind of if it overheats and burns because of it, but you say don't shut off until it's really, really high. One guy said, quickly stop filming if you can and do that. The other fella said pull out the screen because there's a real heat sink right behind the screen as well. So on the A7 III, I think isn't it the same? It's on the crop bodies as well. Have that screen away from the body because a lot of heat will dissipate from the back of the screen as well. Not the actual back of the screen, but what is butted up against the back of the screen on the camera.
Something that Sony have started doing. I don't know whether you've seen the FX3, which is like the A7S, but the cinema body. They've actually got a fan in it now, so it doesn't overheat at all. And that's shooting 4K 120 frames a second, doesn't overheat.
Brilliant. The R5 could have done with that, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have. Do you want to know what else I got in here?
Yeah, I do. I'm just nosy.
What to show you next? I've got some microphones.
Yeah.
It's my little pouch. It says Rode on it somewhere. There.
I can see that.
This is what you get with the Rode Wireless Go 2, which contains, surprise, surprise, the Rode Wireless Go 2. And also these little handy DIDI recorders. These are
Sony, aren't they?
They are Sony TX750s, these are. We've got two of these. They're brilliant for capturing speeches and ceremony for a wedding. You just put them in the lapel, put them on the medium gain, and they just capture beautiful audio every single time. And they've got 16 gig memory, and it lasts for like 24 hours if you're recording continuously. It's just, they're really good.
Even recording WAV, or WAV, whatever you want to call it, you're still getting hours and hours and hours of that. Love that.
Obviously, we've got camera batteries, which are tiny. I'll show you this first because this doesn't really take much explanation.
Wet wipes.
Cables. So these are they're just spare cables for the to plug battery banks into, and they get taken out and put back in, taken out and put back in all the time. So they're just messy. There's a couple of labs in there as well, which I never use. So just back up. And then we have this little bag of goodies. Put this down for a second. This is my favorite little baggie in the world. See, you have something similar.
Tupperware.
I think, it contains exactly the same stuff.
Yeah.
So, Allen keys, hot shoe adapters, jack converters.
The problem is when you're on a shoot, so many times you're going to try and get a camera or a light or something on a light stand, and it's going to be sod's law that it's the wrong size thread. So one of my big tips, and that's absolutely on it, that Chris, get yourself on Amazon and just find like a collection. You can get like 1 million for about $5 and just have them all along with everything with different Allen keys or hex keys and all that kind of stuff, just purely because you're going to need that kind of stuff. And if you don't have it, you look like the idiot that has turned up to a shoot without any SD cards and has to go to the nearest supermarket to go and buy some, which we've both done.
Yes. Story coming later.
Sorry. Oh, spoiler.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Sorry, not for you.
Are you? Is there anything else that you would have in your camera bag? I know something that isn't in there, which is usually in there, which is a lens cloth. Oh, you have one of those to clean
Rocket
your sensor.
Always rocket blower. The problem is with the mirrorless. That's the problem. They're mirrorless, so there's nothing actually in the way of the sensor and the outside world when you take off the lens. Why Sony and all the mirrorless makers don't have a thing where when you turn it off, it just shuts the curtain behind it and just leaves it there? Don't know why, but just dust and everything gets everywhere. So whenever I'm changing a lens, I rocket blow everything, even my ears. You know what I mean? It's just got to be done. But yeah,
see, I don't.
You don't.
You know, when I first got my Sony camera, my very first one was an A7S 1. And that used to get crap on the sensor all the time, and it did my head in. And eventually I got rid of it. And now I'm on APS-C, you very rarely see dust or dirt or anything on the sensor because the sensor is that much smaller.
Yeah.
They do need a clean, and we take them to a local camera shop, Castle Cameras. We take them once a year, have the sensors cleaned, not a problem. But I have noticed now I've got my A7R that I'm getting dust on my sensor, and it bothers me. So,
yes, very annoying.
Bigger sensor is much more of an issue than an APS-C sensor. Oh, USB. Oh, yeah, I like this. Tell everyone about this, because I haven't got one of these, but I will have.
This is brilliant. This is a hub, which actually I've now moved over to. I moved over to the dark side. I moved over to iPhone, but this is a USB Type-C on the bottom. You can get it with Lightning ports, and what it simply is, it's a USB hub with USB 2, SD card, micro SD card, and that's the important bit. Because when you back up your footage, you put an SD card into an SD card reader on your computer, and you either copy that to your hard drive in the computer or drag it to an external hard drive. When you drag it to an external hard drive, what your computer is effectively being is the pass-through. So your computer is just being used to pass the data from the footage from the SD card to the external. So what we did, I tested this on the West Island Way when we were walking 96 miles for 7 days, and we vlogged the whole thing on the Osmo Action and the DJI Mavic, and that goes into the phone. You then take something like the WD Passport that goes into the USB port, and then the SD card goes into here. You have to do it in a certain way, and you do have to turn on USB debugging with an Android. But effectively, what you can then do is deep dive in files, find the footage that you want, select it all, copy, do not move, copy, and then paste it onto somewhere that you've already set up on the external. The reason why I always bring that is when we're doing big shoots, we normally bring a laptop as well. But if we're on smaller shoots, this will help, because all of a sudden, if we, for whatever reason, run out of SD card space, we've got a way to offload. And that, I think it was about a 10 or 15 quid on Amazon, and it's just brilliant. I told you this, didn't I? I told you about this a few weeks back, and you were like, never thought about that. It was something that actually came to me when I was suffering from insomnia one night, and I thought, I wonder if that would work. And it does. Works really well. But if you ever think about doing it, test it before you go, because it might not work with all hard drives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is technically a spinny hard drive, but it's the WD. Actually, yeah, it is a spinny.
It is a spinny. I got one of them.
HDD, but it would definitely work with any kind of SSD, like your Samsung Evos or anything like that, or your SanDisks. But it works really well. So I always have that in just in case. I've just switched to iPhone, but I have my old Android in there as well, because that's also used to fly the drone as well. So yeah, works well.
Did you ever come across those Western Digital hard drives that you could plug an SD card straight into and it would transfer all of the data?
Yeah, do they work?
No, bad. They're awful. They are so bad.
No.
I had the second generation. It was very expensive for a hard drive. It was expensive. It was only 1 terabyte. Did not work. Don't even bother.
I when I load in footage, I want to say where it's going exactly, and especially with the Sonys. The problem with the Sonys is that when you format an SD card, it starts from 1 again, doesn't it?
But if it worked, it would be great, because you can actually watch the footage copying over on your phone. You can see that it's doing the job.
Brilliant.
But it just didn't ever work. It never worked out it was supposed to, and I've still got it. I just don't use it. Don't trust it. Should we move on to our second topic?
Yes.
Is it that time? I feel like wait. We could do our picks of the week, because they're kind of relevant here, aren't they? Ow! Oh, I hurt my elbow. Wait a second. I assume that is Anya. I don't know why it says Facebook user. It should have a name. But she's right. I do have a lens cloth, and it's hidden. It's not in the case anymore. Sorry, Anya.
Hi, Anya.
Which means it's gone into the ether.
Terrible. if you saw last week's stream, Anya is Chris's business partner, and she's just so much nicer than Chris, to be fair.
Yeah, it's true. Should we do our picks of the week?
Picks of the week.
You go first.
Okay, now this is something that Chris Watkins Media, that's actually on his birth certificate.
I've completely forgotten what yours is. I haven't got a clue. I'm excited.
He doesn't use this. And for some reason, his footage still looks great. But I came from the 70D, knowing a little bit about video, and got the A7 III, and literally was out of. I was totally gone. I just didn't know what I was doing. And it was only about 18 months ago where I invested in this thing, and all of a sudden the image was so much better. Around the same time, I got decent lighting as well. But it's the color checker. This is the X-Rite color checker passport. So on here, you've got help for focusing. You've got proper white. I'll explain this in a little bit. And you've also got different gradients of white, and you've also got different things. There's your skin tone line, and there's other colors. To be honest, I never really use this side. The main side I use is this. And I would get a bigger one, but the problem is they're so bloody expensive.
Yeah, because they're like 80 quid, something like that.
Quid this was. £100. Not only that, but they don't last forever because they will degrade, because white is white is white, but it's not. If you've ever seen that thing that was going around, that meme that was going around a couple of years ago, is this dress black or black and blue or gray or white and gold or whatever it was? That isn't white balance, but it is white balance because it depended on your ambient light and what your eyes were used to at the point where you saw it as to what you saw. Because how many mates did you have at school? If you wore black trousers at school, how many mates came in and they had greeny black or bluey black? White can be in so many different shades unintentionally. Up until the point where I got that, I had a cheap 20 quid color checker, big thing here. I tried to find it. I think I've whizzed it from Amazon. And it's just...
What does whizzed it mean?
Thrown it.
Right.
And it just... That's what I was using to set white balance. I was like, yeah, I've got my white balance. Boom, done, great. That didn't work. So I flipped it around, used the gray. 18% white. That'll be better. It was absolutely terrible. The minute I brought that in, that made all the colors so true for me. So my pick of the week, although it's expensive, personally, I think for the work that I do, so beauty, so it has to be color correct, absolutely color correct. I can't start playing around with LUTs and stuff. That is my go-to. That's my pick of the week, the X-Rite color checker passport.
Very good. I do have a color checker.
You just don't use it.
I just don't use it. It used to live in my camera bag, and I would never, ever, ever use it. The only time I would use it was to shoot a YouTube video, and now I kind of know what settings I need. I don't need to mess around because it all lives here. I don't have to mess around with it too much.
So do you live on auto white balance, or do you kind of guess it? Do you think, right, okay, we're outside, that's going to be about 5600 Kelvin. Forget about
I usually go with the daylight preset, like the presets inbuilt. So daylight if it's sunny, shady if it's shady.
Slim.
Just go with it. And a lot of the times, yes, it is on auto. I'm not afraid to say it. I like auto white balance. It does a good job for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love auto.
I feel like I'm going to get like 400 people unsubscribed from my YouTube channel now, but it's the truth. When I'm in here, it's always on daylight because I know that light is daylight. So that's what I do.
Right. So in contrast, my £120 pick of the week for a piece of colored card. Are you going to save me some money?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but whenever we go on a shoot,
I'm getting a preamble. Oh, I love a preamble. Go ahead.
We inevitably have to change the tripod plate on the bottom of our camera at least once in the day. It's usually about 5 or 6 times, depending on what we're using the camera for, and it gets really old. So that was what this used to be used for. We also used to have a screwdriver in the flight case. We used to Yeah. We used to... Anya's got like a really nice Leatherman that she takes around with her, but sometimes she'd forget it, or sometimes it was left in the car and we were half a mile away from the car and we needed to change the tripod plate. And this was on my mind for ages, because I was like, I want something that is always on me. Oh, who's this? Anya saying yes.
I think we're just deciding that literally Facebook user is Anya forever.
It's Anya. Yeah. So we were getting really, really fed up with this problem. And hey, look, the perfect... Anya knows what I'm going to say because she knows how good this is. We were getting fed up, and we were in America on a shoot, and we came back with a pocket full of change. And I don't know if you know, but a quarter is pretty much the perfect size to change a tripod plate. A 10p will also work. I find a quarter is a bit better because it's ever so slightly thicker.
So that's the base. That's the base plate from the Weebill S. So that's pretty standard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can show you. This hasn't got a tri. This hasn't got a tri. I'll just carry on. So a quarter is absolutely perfect. So we brought back loads of these quarters. We had literally handfuls of them because we were just spending notes. We weren't spending the change. And I talked to my father-in-law, and I was like, "These are really good. These are perfect for taking your tripod on and off. What can we do?" And he was like, "Let's drill a hole in it."
Brilliant.
So that goes on my keys, and it is always with me because I always have my car keys on me, and then I can always do up and undo tripod plates with no hassle.
It's funny you should say that, because if you can see this, oh come on, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can you see the dings on that?
Yeah.
That, by the way, Samyang 18mm. It's so sharp, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, it's very good.
I never use the screwdriver on this purely because it's actually a little bit too wide for it. So the amount of times I'm on a shoot and I'm like, Emma, have you got a 2p? Have you got something? And
2p would work, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't, Christoph, because the problem is that I get that in, get it underneath the A7 III, rag it until I'm almost trying to pull the thread out of the bottom of the camera. And the problem is then the 2p's wedged in it. So then I'm able to get it out. And then I've got a pair of long nose pliers in there as well. And I've got to use the long nose plier to pull it out. So I'm sorry, but that, Christoph, I wish I had a soundboard, because I give you a cheer right now and go, yes, what a man. What are you going to do? Are you going to spend 120 quid on this? Or are you going to spend a good few hundred quid on a flight out to America? Oh, actually, no.
Well, a 10p would work just as well, but I think a quarter is a bit cooler. And I had loads of them, and I couldn't spend them in the UK. So
you're cooler. Plus, if you drilled a hole through the Queen's Head, I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
I think what I've done to these quarters is illegal. We've had a couple of comments. Coin Genius Chris. Yeah. Hello, Matt or Sophie. Don't know which one you are. Maybe both of you. You all right? Hope you're doing well.
All right. There it was. All right. Remember the other week when they said, "Can you say all right?" That was it. All right.
Oh, all right. Remember the time we carried knives onto the London Eye and didn't get stopped? Yeah.
Was this supposed to be a private message?
No. Literally dangling off the monopod. Yeah. So we had something like this. It wasn't this exact thing. I think it was like a fake Leatherman, and we were we were doing a video for Snapchat directly outside the London Eye, and they wanted a shot down onto their stand. Have you seen those Snapchat glasses you can get that record? Yeah, so we were doing a promo video for them, and they were doing it outside the London Eye. And they wanted a shot down onto their little booth from the London Eye, and they were dangling off the side of a monopod, because that's where we used to keep it. And we walked past the queues of people getting searched. We were escorted on by a security guard. with knives on our monopods, and we didn't realize until we got on there. That's really surprising that Anya's remembered that, because she hadn't got the best memory.
In a similar vein, I fell foul to security, and that's why I no longer have my Leatherman, because I worked on ships for years, and I never went anywhere without my Leatherman. On the ship that I went on, this ship in question, we docked in Harwich down in London in the Thames Estuary. But at the end of the contract, we were actually flying back from LA, and I didn't check my Leatherman, did I? I had it in my carry-on, and oh my God, seriously. I mean, it would probably happen in any airport, but especially in an airport where they have a license to carry a gun in LAX, and I'm like, ah! So yeah, that was. He said you can either pay to get it sent, or we'll destroy it for you. And I thought, you ain't destroying that, mate. That's going in your pocket because it's a bloody good Leatherman. So yeah, I never replaced it. But yeah, you got onto London Eye with a weapon, and I lost mine because I was an idiot.
Yeah. Something else, just touching on airport security whilst we're here. Firstly, Anya gets stopped every time we go through any airport security. I don't know why. I think she just looks dodgy. Secondly, if you ever go with a load of cameras, put them in your hand luggage. Don't put them in the hold.
No.
Like we had a backpack which was stuffed full of just cameras and lenses. We did get stopped every single time we went through airport security, both ways. But everything we absolutely needed to do the shoot was hand luggage. We took loads of tripods. I think that was when we went to America, and we came back and we lost all of our tripods and all of our monopods on the return journey. No, it was Paris, actually. That's where it was. Between Paris and the UK, God knows why we flew. We didn't want to fly. But yeah, they lost all of our tripods. So when we had a wedding the next day, so we had to go out and replace them all. And then eventually they did turn up. So now we've got many tripods. Yeah, but just a little story for you.
Yeah, no.
Hey, look, Anya remembers Paris as well. Look at her memory going tonight.
Wow, get you.
Gangster vibes.
Paris and knives. I love it. But that's it. I mean, never, ever, ever put a lens or a camera or a drone or never check any of that stuff.
You do have to check a drone.
Do you?
Yeah, you can't check the batteries, but you do have to check the drone. I might be wrong about that. No, let me just tell you another story whilst we're here and we're talking about this. So we were flying back from Canada, and no, you are allowed to check the drone, but you're not allowed to check the batteries. And we checked the drone and the batteries. I think it was on the way back from Canada. Maybe Anya might remember this. She doesn't. She does remember, but she doesn't remember the place, or she might tell us in a second.
I don't know if I'm remembering differently, but the batteries need to go in like a lipo bag.
They don't have to.
No,
they don't have to.
Okay.
She's saying in the comment section. I think it was Canada we were flying back from, and we put our suitcase on the little conveyor that takes your suitcase away with the drone with the batteries in it, and it went off down the conveyor belt, and I thought, shit, there's batteries in that. And we almost said, don't worry about it. We'll just leave it. We'll just see what happens. But we were both panicking that we weren't going to get our bag, or that we were going to get stopped at airport security and miss our flight and stuff. So we went and told them. And we sat and waited for 2.5 hours for them to go and retrieve our bag that was somewhere in the airport. They didn't really know where. Eventually they came out with it, and we took the batteries out and we rechecked it, but it was an absolute nightmare.
And did they confirm that you really shouldn't have done that? Or
yeah, because they can set on fire. That's the reason you're not supposed to put them in the hold, because the batteries can set on fire.
The batteries are connected to when a battery is in something. I bet it was shame when the battery is in what it's intended to be in. the connections are met. So therefore that circuit is completed. So yeah, I mean, oh, that's not good, Christoph. That's
Not
not
fun.
good. No.
I guess we're kind of already on our third topic, which is what not to do. But should we backtrack a little bit? Should we go back to?
Things
Oh
to
no,
include-
we've done all that, haven't we? Let's carry on with fun stories about things we shouldn't do, because this is fun. Tell me the worst thing you've ever done on a shoot.
Formatted an SD card, the wrong SD card, after 2 hours of shooting. They're no longer a client. It's fine. After 2 hours of shooting with a client that had someone who worked for them who presented, and rather than own up to it, I convinced him that you could do better. Let's start again. And he said, "Oh yeah, but you know that means you're going to be here later." And I just went, "Do you know what? I'm only happy when it's perfect." And I literally, I got rid of 2 hours worth of footage and convinced him to do it all again. In hindsight, he did it better the second time. But you know, when I've done something else, but I'll come back to that. But yeah, that was one of my biggest goofs. Like, what an idiot. This is going to be a bit of tennis.
Yeah, okay. So we'll hit it back to me.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, Anya, if you've got any stories that you want me to tell, just give me a hint in the comment section, and I'll tell it, because there's quite a few. I mean, me and Anya have got some funny stories. Look at that. Evil Genius was the second go better? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Oh God, which one do I tell you? There are many. Shall I tell you the wedding one that I told you the other day? I feel bad about that one though. Still,
give me a hint. You tell me so much.
Gassy.
Yes.
I should tell that one. Right. Okay.
I hope no future clients are seeing this, but yes, tell us that one.
If they are, I really apologize. I'm flat.
You've already paid your deposit. You ain't getting it back. Go.
So Anya and I turned up to this wedding, and it was in a really nice hotel. It's actually where Anya got married. Anya's comment: "There are so many, but we are so professional." We are professional. We do a great job, regardless of how much we mess stuff up. So it doesn't really matter. But me and Anya turned up to this wedding, really, really swanky. Obviously, cost a lot of money. And we got out of the lift. We were going to find the bride, who I don't think we'd actually met. Pretty sure we hadn't met her. And we were going to the bridal suite. And we got out the lift and we turned around the corner and we were like, "Yep, that's the bridal suite." Anya goes to knock on the door.
I just need to say before you do this, the thing is that when it's it's not a high stress job, but it's actually quite a high. It is. It's a high stress job. You imagine being a photographer or a videographer for a wedding. It's totally different to one for a corporate job. Whereas a corporate job, if it's not quite right, guys, can we take that back? Can we shoot it? So with a wedding, if you don't get the focus right, or you don't have the settings right, absolutely right, or you're not in the right place at the right time, that can be the difference between a good wedding video and a stunning wedding video. So there's almost like, because there's this pressure, there's almost like this, it's like a gallows humor, really, isn't it? And it's like you've got to do anything to lighten the mood, because no matter how many times you do it, there's that pressure on you. So you're walking up away from the lift towards the hotel room with the bride. Yeah.
And Anya goes to knock on the door, and I stop her, and I just say, "Wait a minute." And I did an almighty fart just before we walked in. It was a good one. It was really impressive. And then she knocks on the door, and we hear this little noise behind us, and we turned around, and it was the bride's mum stood right in the fart, and she'd been there when I'd done it, and I died inside. It was terrible.
not only had she been there when you did it, she was there when you stopped Anya from knocking on the door. So she
I
must
think
have
I
been
cocked my leg as well.
like, hold on a minute. And you, oh, mate, that's just.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really awkward. Really awkward. Right, I'm going to bat it back to you. Tell me something else.
Oh, I can't remember. I should make notes here. There was one that I was.
I mean, I can keep going if you want me to keep going.
Right. So there's this local online magazine company who also sell a print version in shops. And they're lovely. They're really, really nice. They're really quite community driven. And we were doing a piece. We were filming a piece that was a new thing that was coming out, a new play that was coming out in Liverpool. And it was written by a lady whose centenary was just coming up. And the unveiling or the launch of this show was at her. We'd gone round to her old house where a plaque was being revealed for. You know when they got the blue plaques outside a house, whatever that means. It's a place of historic, whatever. And we were back in the nearby hotel doing a press junket. So we were getting all these what they're called interviews, loads of sit-down interviews. Yeah, but they weren't even vox pops. They were literally proper sit-downs. We would chuck the light in there. We mic'd up everyone, blah blah blah. And for some reason, I forgot what I normally used. And I can't remember what I even normally used at the time. So in the end, the mics were going into the Zoom handy recorder. Hello, lovely to see you. So mic for the interviewer, mic for the interviewee. And then that goes into the camera. So your headphones go onto the camera. But for some reason, I couldn't find the line out, small jack to small jack. I couldn't find the line out to go into the camera, because what you'd normally do is you'd record on here and you'd also record on the camera. So you had backup.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I can't find it. Okay, cool. So we set up, did a quick check. Right, I'm happy with that. Okay, record, cans on. And we're interviewing a lady from Coronation Street who's in the show. And it was such a lovely interview. It was brilliant. And we got to it, finished it, and I looked down to the camera. Cool. Second cam, fine. Was that recording?
Again, we've all been there.
And all you can hear when I got the footage back, all you could hear was everything else, because you know how bad the mics are on a camera. Yeah. And they were like, I had long lenses on because I wanted that little bit of compression behind them. So I had an 85 on one and I had the other zoomed all the way into 70. It's really, really nice. So the cameras were nowhere near the talent. And all you could hear was literally everything else. Thankfully, our client was very, very understandable. And the show got cancelled a week later. So they never used any of the interviews anyway. But yeah, that was another idiot move by Adam. 15 all.
Right, I'm ready to trump you. I've got a good answer to this question. Is it too late to submit a question? What's the best/worst thing you've ever caught on audio with a client, groom, celebrant was mic'd up? No names, obviously.
Very good. I've got one. Go.
Have you? Right, okay. So mine, do you want to go first? Because I'm pretty sure mine's going to win. Do you want to vote in the comment section whose is the worst audio? Because that would be quite good. Yeah. Okay. You go first. Tell me what yours is. Right. You haven't got a chance. I'm just going to tell you haven't got a chance.
Okay. I did a couple of in-house jobs before I went freelance and then started my own company. And the last video I did for one of the companies was an interview with Boss, one of the directors. We mic'd, and we talked about everything. We had a good chat. It was really, really nice. And that was that. And then I stopped recording, but the cans were left and the mics were live, and he ran off to take a phone call. And I wasn't even listening. I hadn't realized, but the cans were still on. and I'd gone to the toilet. I came back and I could hear him on the phone. And he actually said, what I remember hearing was, yeah, it went really, really well. I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm going to be gutted sacking him.
Ooh, about you? Oh, maybe yours wins.
It turns out that I was actually being made redundant. It was a company that weren't allowed to. I'm not going to give it away, but a company that weren't allowed legally to advertise anymore. So they had no room for a marketing department and couldn't do it. And he just went, "Oh yeah, a big gutted sacking him." And I just went in. I went, "I'll save you the problem. I'll save you the trouble. Is it anything I've done?" And he was like, "It's not you."
It makes me really sad. But I
right.
still don't think it wins.
Okay. Oh, well, I want to get this then. Please.
I'm just going to show Anya's comment. Haha, my husband in the loo. So I set up a couple of cameras at her wedding, and we've got him mic'd up, being recorded with one of those little recorders in the loo. I never actually listened to that. Anya will know exactly what this story is going to be as soon as I start it.
Do I know what it's going to be as well? Have you taught? By the way, if you've just joined us, if you've not seen any of our streams before, the main impetus for hey Dallop, how you doing, mate? The main reason why we started this is because Chris and I met on the internet, not Tinder, a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, and we started having Zoom beers all the way through lockdown. And I think you've already told me the story that you're about to tell me, haven't you?
I might have done. I'm not sure.
Oh, I really hope so. I don't know if you're going to be that ruthless, but sorry.
Yeah,
Dallop.
I am. Dallop, ask your question. We'll come back to it after this story.
Fire away.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I know what the app is, but me and you. Oh, I see. Very good. Very clever. Clap, clap, clap. So, me and Anya were filming a wedding. I'm not going to mention any names because this is horrific. And I was setting up the microphone on the groom. We had a wireless microphone set up on the groom.
It is.
And he was talking to his best man. And he was basically commenting on every woman that walked down the aisle and rating them.
This is the groom.
This is the groom who's about to get married.
Top bloke.
And then we got down to the ceremony was about to start. Basically, the bride was stood outside. I just filmed her arriving in the car and stood at the back of the church, ready to walk down. I got back, put my headphones on, and I heard him say, "Yeah, Sheila or whatever her name was. I can't remember what her name was. I'd pile drive her." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And then, better than that, he span his head and looked at me, and
Hands
he said,
on. Hold on.
So he's looking directly at me.
Hold on.
I mean, done. Yeah, he looked straight at me and said, "Delete that." And I said, "No." And I've still got the footage.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think I'm gonna go. There's more to that story, but I can't tell it on stream.
Well, I can't wait for it. I can't wait to finish this. We have 6 minutes.
Should we answer Dallop's question?
Yeah, as my wife always says, I hate men. Apparently, I'm not one of them. Don't know if that's emasculating or not. Yes. Well done, my man. He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Good bit of blackmail.
Yeah. Dallop.
Whoever's out of Sophie and Matt, message me and I'll tell you why it's not so important anymore.
Oh,
right.
That's why we need to film an after show as well.
Right. I'm trying to decide between a GorillaPod or a DJI gimbal. I already have a phone gimbal from DJI, so I'm really starting to like their products.
Okay. Budget.
Yeah. Well,
But well, the thing is, with a GorillaPod, like with anything, GorillaPod's not going to have as much weight as you expect it to have to be able to smooth out those jitters. If you don't have, my opinion, sorry, Chris, if you don't have the budget for a DJI and that's what's stopping you, you could bridge the gap and go with something like a monopod, because that's going to have a good weight underneath to at least try and smooth those out. But in my opinion, nothing will replace an actual 3-axis motorized gimbal. And don't get a GorillaPod because Chris will nick it.
I'll steal it. I've still got it. I didn't steal it. You lent it to me, and I've still got it. I don't use it. I don't think I've ever used it. And that's what I was going to say. GorillaPod, great if you just want to stick a camera somewhere awkward and leave it. Anything else?
Are you talking about the Probe lens?
No, not yet. Stick it somewhere. I can't even say this without it sounding awful. So I'm not even going to try. Yeah, if you want to mount a camera somewhere, like on a doorway or on a frame or something like that, then a GorillaPod is really good. If you want to walk around and get really smooth, lush footage, then a gimbal is probably the way to go. You notice I changed my voice changes when it's only me. I turned back into YouTuber Chris instead of live streamer Chris. The other thing I was going to say is if you're walking around with a camera like Casey Neistat, if you're vlogging, then definitely go for a GorillaPod over a gimbal. He's gone. He's left me. I've dropped my mouse. It's all going wrong. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I ordered the GorillaPod today to try it out. It's very nice and easy to use, but gimbals are the next level for me. It really depends on what you're using it for. Gimbals are awesome, and I love my gimbal. This is the DJI Ronin SC.
This is the Xi'an Weeble S.
Mine's broken.
His SC's broken.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a good gimbal, then I wouldn't recommend the DJI Ronin SC because it broke on me and they won't replace it, which is really annoying.
Yeah, but the thing is, to kind of draw the parallels, there are people who are also saying that the Weeble S does break as well. The secret apparently is do not store or transport your camera with the axes locked.
That's interesting. I don't really do that anyway, but that's fine. I'm just not very impressed with DJI.
With regards to a GorillaPod, the great thing about a GorillaPod is it will give you a sturdier base than just having the camera in your hand. And also, as Chris just literally hit the mark, a la Casey Neistat, who started vlogging with a 5D, I think he did, with a GorillaPod on it.
No, it was way before the 5D existed.
Didn't he start? He was making films, but when he started doing his daily vlog, he started.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And that was with a GorillaPod on it. And you do get a
80D, Canon 80D.
It was. You're absolutely right. Dual pixel autofocus. And the beauty of that was you can literally stick it, mount it, get it in anywhere. And they are really good and they will hold. But yeah, for smooth, they're two different tools, really, aren't they?
Yeah, you want both eventually, really.
Yeah, you do.
I'd say.
And then you want a monopod to go underneath your gimbal, and then you've got a poor man's jib.
We've got a few more comments. Let's address them really quick. Dallop, I made the mistake. It arrived today. I'm trying it out, but with the site I'm using, I can send it back if I'd like to. Yeah, well, see how you get on and have a play with it. If you've got 30-day returns, then play with it for 29 days and send it back.
And you know, if you've got a use for it, if you do work for a use for it, know that you're not going to get the same thing with a gimbal. You're going to get different things with a gimbal. So if that works for your workflow now, keep hold of it and master the use of that GorillaPod, and then go on to the gimbal if you feel you need it. Just like to
definitely. So we have, how long do the batteries tend to last in a gimbal? Does it depend on brand, etc.? Now, I have an apology to make to the Distance duo because I'm meant to be sending them a Zion Crane 2, and I realize I haven't done, but that's because I've been using it because my Ronin SC has died. But I'm being sent a new gimbal very, very soon from Moser. Haven't told you about this, Adam, yet. And I'll be reviewing that. What? Sorry? What?
Is it the Aircross?
It's the Moser Air 2S. I don't even know if it's... I might have just broken an NDA there. Never mind. Don't Google that. Shut everyone's ears. But yeah, I'm going to be reviewing a new gimbal, so I will send you my Crane 2 at some point very soon.
Gimbals generally take the 18650s. Does the Crane?
Yeah, the Ronin SC doesn't. It's rechargeable battery, which is inbuilt. Mine, I can shoot a whole wedding on it, and it's probably on half battery by the end of the day. Yeah, the Zion Crane takes them.
So that's your standard AA, and that's your 18650. And I tend to only charge mine up maybe every 2 shoots. I'm all right with the Weeble S. It lasts all right. It does quite well for me.
I always charge mine no matter what, really. But yeah, they last a long time. They said, "Oh, no problem at all." We realized right away that you had to keep hold of yours when you saw the other had collapsed. Yeah, I will be sending it to you though. My new one is on the way, so I will get it to you. I do keep my promises. I'm a man who keeps my promises, and I feel really bad about it.
And to say that he does, because one of my picks of the week very soon is an MX Master mouse, which on a drunken Zoom, me and him were talking, and I said, I really want the MX Master, but I can't afford it. And he said, I've got one in a drawer. So he literally sent it to me. And the reason why my picture is actually so much better than episode 1 is that he had a capture card in his drawer and chucked that to me. I'm just starting to realize that Chris Watkins sends me the contents of his drawers.
And you love it.
I do.
I think that's probably a good place to end, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, it's been a pleasure, as always.
Do you want to tell everybody what we're talking about next week?
Well, hold on. What, Anya? Is this yours?
No, it's not hers. Was she on is that your mouse? No, it's not. We both got one, didn't we? Didn't we, Anya? Yes, we did. You've got yours. I don't use mine anymore because I use my contour one. Are you sure
Anya's mouse isn't with her lens cloth?
I know where her lens cloth is actually. It's just not in the flight case.
Wrapped around.
Oh, we've had somebody say hello right at the last minute. Hello,
Fox Prod. Hello.
We're just about to go, but you can rewind and watch it later.
Yeah, do that. So yeah, next week is something that I don't really know about, and I'm really looking forward to it because what is it that's coming up? Is it the equinox or something? What is it?
The summer solstice.
Summer solstice. There you go. Oh,
that's what you're on about. I don't even know what an equinox is, but I'm assuming that's where you were going.
Yeah, I was. Because the summer solstice, he knows all about that. He lives right around the corner from Stonehenge, doesn't he? All these pagans.
I might go this year. I might go.
I think you should. But we have a guy on next week.
Shall I introduce him? Because you're not doing a very good job.
I said to you last week, I am purposely staying ignorant because I don't want to look into this. I saw little bits that you did a while back. And yeah, what's coming on next week, Chris?
Right, so I shouldn't have asked you, should I? I should have just told you all. Right, so we've got my friend Sam Cornwell coming on the show next week. He is an inventor. He's a photographer. He's an all-round genius of many things. And he's going to be talking about his invention, the Solarcan, which is basically the world's simplest camera. So that's where I'm going to leave it. He's going to come on and have a chat. So if you fancy that, then... when you pop the comments up, it real distracts me. Does it distract you?
So yeah, it really does. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
We need to stop doing that because it's really I lose my train of thought. Yeah, sorry. He's coming on to talk about his product. I've worked with him. I've known him for 10 years, and he does some awesome stuff. And he's going to come on, and Adam's going to ask him questions about his product. Let's just have one. Okay, I am French. I don't understand everything, but it's very interesting.
Bonsoir. Fox Prod. Comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Adam.
Oui.
I do actually.
Yeah, I need a wee too. I always need a wee at the end of the stream.
Yeah, bienvenue.
Last one. Great show, chaps. Take care and see you next week. Equinox is Latin for equal night, when the days are as long as the nights. That's a guess, but it sounds plausible, isn't it?
Nothing to do with
I love it. Right.
Nothing.
Goodbye, everyone. It's been a lovely stream, and we will see you all next week.
Cheers.